day, blissful beings. And in today's live, we're going to take some time to answer your questions that you've posted today. And we also want to say thank you for posting those questions, because it will definitely help other people as well. And we just want to start off this live by saying that all that is required from you to manifest all your desires is to be the person that already has your desires. So all you need to do is just be the version of yourself that already has all your desires. In other words, you just have to shift your state to that version of yourself that already has all your desires. So for example, let's just say that your desire is to manifest your SP. All that is required from you is just to accept that you are now with your SP. Yes, that's really how simple it is. You have to accept that you are now with your SP, and you really have to give it to yourself in your imagination. So in other words, you're like, I'm grateful that I'm with my SP now. Our relationship is awesome, and it's freaking getting better every single day. It's just like a movie. I'm so grateful that we now enjoying love, happiness, and bliss together. It's absolutely amazing. It's everything that I've ever wished for. So you see, when I said that, you probably felt a certain way, right? If you manifesting your SP, you probably felt a certain way. So the only reason why you do not have your desires right now is because of your refusal to accept that you have it. The only reason why you do not have your manifestations is because you are refusing yourself in your imagination. And it's really as simple as deciding what you want, accepting that you have it right now, or accepting that you are it right now. And then you just remain faithful to that new acceptance. So it now becomes your new story. So now you express your gratitude now that you have your SP, or now that you have financial abundance. Which reminds me, when I manifested my beautiful wifey, I first had to become very clear. What do I want? Why do I want to manifest a wife? Why? I was like, oh, you know what? I want to be the blissful married man. So I want to be the blissful married man because the blissful married man, that state implies that I am enjoying a blissful marriage. And it means that my wife is also blissful. That's all I had to do. I accepted that I am the blissfully married man. I remain faithful to that new acceptance. I made it my new story. So in other words, of course, I had doubts. Of course, I wavered sometimes. Of course, I fell out of state sometimes. But I always returned back to my state of being the blissful married man. Why? Because I understand, or rather understand, that my imagination is God. It creates. So whatever I accept in my imagination is a done deal, because my imagination is the real world. It's the 4D. The 3D is only a projection of my imagination. So whatever I accept in my imagination is a done deal. I do not need any validation or signs or approval from the 3D. The 3D is only a mirror showing me what's in my mind. So if the 3D shows me anything that is undesirable, I know that I don't have to mess with the 3D. All I have to do is just change what is happening in my mind. I have to then become that person that, let's just say, for example, I want to manifest $20,000. I have to accept in my mind that I already have the $20,000. I do not have to worry about the how and question it. All that is required from me is to accept that I have $20,000 in my account right now. I have to accept it. Now you see, my acceptance wills the means. So my acceptance allows my fourth dimensional self, the 4D, whatever you want to call it, your God self, your 4D self, your higher self, the universe, whatever you want to call it. That acceptance allows my 4D self to actually rearrange my 3D accordingly. So I say again, the reason why you do not have your desires now is because you are refusing to accept that you have it now. You are refusing. You are telling yourself that you do not have it. You're telling yourself that, no, I have to do this and I have to do this to manifest it. No, you don't have to do anything to manifest it. You have to accept that you have it now. Because if you're trying to manifest, you are telling yourself you do not have it. You are in a state of lack. That's why Neville Goddard and his mentor Abdullah. Neville Goddard wanted to go and visit his family because he hasn't seen his family for quite some time. He then went to his mentor Abdullah. He said, yo, I need to go to Barbados and I don't have any money and I really want to go see my family. Abdullah told him that you are already in Barbados and you went first class. This is when Neville Goddard was still in New York. His mentor told him that, yo, you are already in Barbados and you went first class. And he was like, what? I'm already? And boom, Abdullah slammed the door in his face. Because Abdullah knew that if he was going to reason with him, it's not going to help Neville in any way, shape, or form. So Neville had to understand at that moment to accept that in his imagination that he is already in Barbados. And when Neville Goddard accepted that he was in Barbados, his fourth dimensional self rearranged everything in the 3D to ensure that he goes to Barbados. He did not have to lift a finger. His 4D self sorted out everything. So the how is not your problem. You are trying to manifest this, that, and the other. That is not your problem. All that is required from you is to accept that you are the person that has all your desires now. You just have to accept it.
Yeah, a lot of times we used to say, you have to, be clear in what you want, accept it, and remain faithful. But really, that acceptance and remaining faithful goes hand in hand. It's essentially the same thing, where every day, or even multiple times a day if it comes to your mind, every day you choose to be that version of yourself. Every day you choose to be that blissfully married person. You choose to be that successful business owner. You choose to be that person who has perfect health. You choose to be that dream car owner. Whatever it is. And you see, even for us, even now that we are married and we've been married for some time now, we still choose every day to be blissfully married. It's not a fact of, well, we're already married, so now we can just move on. Every day we choose to be in that state because we want to keep maintaining this blissful state that we've created. And my other favorite part of the whole story with Neville and Abdullah and going to Barbados is that, Abdullah told him, you went first class. It's not enough that you just went and you got your desires. Like, no, I want you to have
the best of
the best.
Yeah.
No limitations. You went first class. You say you have zero money? Nope, you went first class. And it's that same power that we have. It's not just, okay, I want to be in a relationship and just be happy. Like, no, I want to have like the best relationship ever. It's not just, okay, I really want to manifest a car. No, like, what's your dream car? Go for that. Because everything already exists. We always say creation is already finished. So there's a version of yourself that doesn't have a car. There's a version of yourself that has, like, like an old used car that works but it's okay. And there's a version of yourself that has that brand new Ferrari. So would you rather be the person who has, like, a used car that works, or do you want to be the person who owns your dream car? There's no limits. And for me, that was one of my biggest revelations from that story of Neville and Abdullah. Not just that he went and he got his desire, but he was like, shoot for the stars, like go for the biggest thing. Like, he went first class all the way there, and that's what ended up happening.
And speaking of cars, I remember when I manifested one of my dream cars. It was a Range Rover Sport. A Range Rover Sport. The reason why I manifested a Range Rover Sport is because I had like a GTI, a Golf 7 GTI 7.5, but I went camping and I was traveling on the gravel road, and I was driving so slowly, and I was like, oh my word, this is not cool, man. And then I was like, you know what? I need a 4x4 or SUV. I need a 4x4 SUV. And I saw an ad with this Range Rover actually driving up the stairs of the Great Wall of China. And it was this red Range Rover just driving up, the stairs of the Great Wall of China. And I was like, oh my word, that's freaking incredible. And I was like, I want that. I want to manifest that. So I had to become the Range Rover owner, right? So I had to actually become the Range Rover owner. So I had to accept that I already have the Range Rover. And I accepted. I was like, okay, every day I was like, no, I'm so happy and grateful for my Range Rover Sport red. I was specific, red Range Rover Sport. And I was like, yeah, I'm so happy and grateful that I have my Range Rover Sport. But now here's the thing: when I accepted it, like during the day while I was driving my Golf at the time, when my desire came to my mind, I would actually see myself in the Range Rover and see even the steering wheel, like just in my mind's eye, in the Range Rover, and really just, fulfilling myself in the knowingness that it is done. I would like, yes, yes, I'm grateful for my Range Rover. And then as soon as I felt the feeling of, fulfillment, I then let it go and I just continued about my day. And it took me about between 2 to 3 months to actually manifest the Range Rover. But what I did was I accepted that I was the Range Rover owner before I even had the Range Rover. And I made it my new story. So whenever it came to my mind, I would express my gratitude. Oh, I'm so grateful for my Range Rover. Now I can at least freaking go to all these different, camps, experiences, and even, do 4x4 trails as well, because I finally have my Range Rover. That's how I actually, fulfilled, myself. And even when I manifested my wife, Kylie, same thing. I accepted that I was blissfully married. And during the day, when the desire came to me, I would express my gratitude for already being blissfully married. I would go to restaurants on my own. She would come to my mind. I would see her being with me at the restaurant. Hiking, I would see her being with me. Going to the beach, I would see her being with me in my imagination. Only when the desire came to my mind. Because remember, our job is just to accept that we are already in Barbados and that we went first class. That's it. You don't even need to do all these different techniques and methods. You just have to accept that you are already in Barbados and you went first class. That's it. But the techniques are obviously helpful because it helps you to fulfill yourself in imagination. In other words, it helps you to accept your desired state. So, in other words, it helps you to keep you in that state of the wish fulfilled. That's why methods and tools can be useful, but you do not need to affirm affirm like for hours and hours and hours like a robot. You don't have to do that. I mean, if you do decide to do that, you have to do it from the place of having your desire now. So what I mean by this is when you affirm like robotically, do not do it from a place of trying to manifest your desire. So when you affirm, you want to do it from a place of already having your desire. So you want to affirm that you are already in Barbados and you went first class. If you decide to affirm, so you can do that, right? But the point that I want to make is that all that's required from us is just to accept that we are in Barbados right now and we went first class, because that is a state. You see, each and every state is complete, and each and every state has its own thoughts, feelings, and actions. So, right now, there is a version of you that already has all your desires. So, let's just say, for example, your desire is to be happily married. You just have to be the person that is now happily married. So, you just have to accept, I'm grateful that I'm now happily married. And then you make this acceptance your new story. You now ask yourself, oh, okay, so now that I'm happily married, how am I thinking? How am I feeling? How am I acting? How am I relating to people? What's the overall sensation? What's the vibe? So when you ask yourself these questions, all the answers comes to your mind, because you are in state, you are already, you are in the state of the wish fulfilled. So you're now basically the happily married person. And then you just have to make this new story or this new state your dominant state. Even though you go out of state 100 times a day, that's fine. We're all human. You're not going to be in state 24/7. You're all human. You're going to be sad. You're going to feel anxious. You're going to be a little bit stressful. That's fine, as long as you make your desired state your dominant state. So, in other words, all you have to do is just to make sure that you return to your desired state at least 51% of the time. So, in other words, it has to become your dominant state. Like right now, you have a dominant state. If I had to ask you, what were you thinking yesterday throughout the day? You'll tell me, you're like, oh man, I was like, I'm stressing because I'm trying to manifest, right? So that's a state of lack, because you're trying to manifest. Or you'll say that, oh man, I accept that I have my desires. I feel calm, I feel peaceful, I feel fulfilled. Now that is a state of abundance. You see, so you always return to your dominant state. And exactly the same with your desires now. When you have a desire, accept that you have it. If you do fall out of state, that's fine. You just have to pick up yourself and return back to your state, and just express your gratitude and say, of course, I am in Barbados and I went first class.
Yeah, one of my favorite things or examples where it really clicked for me is that, and I saw a couple comments say, a lot of times people say like, oh, you have to remain in state 100% of the time. If you fall out, that's going to whatever dissolve everything. And But when I related it to our life, like in marriage and in any relationship, there's going to be like conflicts. You have times when you're going to be conflicting with your partner or with your parents, with a colleague. But that doesn't negate that, okay, you know what, just because I'm having this rough patch, this like moment of conflict, it doesn't negate that, of course, I still have a blissful marriage. Of course, I still have a loving relationship. It's just at this moment it doesn't seem blissful, but that doesn't mean I'm out of state. And that's where I think it's like, okay, you know what, we are human. I'm still going to be the god of my reality, but I still have these emotions. And my emotions are what make up this human experience. So if I feel frustrated, if I feel tired, if I do feel like, Aisha, I just want this now, that's not going to undo and unravel all of the work you've put in to remind yourself every day that no, I have my desire. I am the perfectly healthy person. Even though right now I don't feel like it, I know that I still am this person. I know I still have my desire. And like Gabriel said, like it's coming back to that dominant state. Because like during the day, we go through a wide range of emotions and a wide range of states. Sometimes you have to be, the business version of yourself or the working version of yourself. You come home and you have to play the spouse or the partner, the child, the parent. You have like these different hats that you put on throughout the day. And you're essentially just shifting into different states, different versions of yourself. And just because when I come home, and I'm home, I'm that blissful wife. It doesn't mean that I'm still not the successful business owner. I'm just not in that version of myself at that moment. But it doesn't mean that I'm not a successful business owner. And so it's when we see it that way, where it's like this complete picture, to say, okay, just because I might have shifted out of this, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
I just need to remind myself back to that place.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's not done just with affirmations or just done with imagination or just done with this tool or technique. Whatever's going to help you get back to that place. It could just be a simple reminder.
Yeah, it could be just simply reminding yourself that, yeah, of course.
Yeah, you like
Of
catch
course.
yourself.
Yeah, you catch yourself. You say, of course, I'm already a millionaire. Of course, I'm, blissfully married. Of course, I'm perfectly healthy. Now, check this out. When you are reminding yourself that it is your new norm to be blissfully married, you just accept it. You have to accept it. And you can, like, because obviously you're probably gonna ask, like, well, it's not that easy just to accept and all that. Yeah, I understand that. I think the reason why it may not be so easy for some people to accept that they have it now is because some people, like at least some of our clients, right? Because what we do is that we take our clients through a process where they experience that their imagination is God. Because if you have not had the experience that your imagination is God, it's going to be a little bit challenging for you to believe that everything in your imagination is fact because you've never had that reference. So, so what we do with our clients, we have them experience that, hey, my imagination is actually God. So now I can actually trust it. You see, this is what happened to me as well. I know before I did not trust that my imagination is God. I used to doubt, I used to question, and I always used to try to figure out the how, because I didn't believe that my imagination is God. That's why I always doubted, didn't trust, always questioned and stuff. But when I actually saw proof that my imagination is God, that's when I was like, oh, okay. All I need to do is just accept that it's done, and then the 3D conforms. That's it. You literally just have to say, yeah, of course it's done. You don't even have to, as I said, put yourself through so much uncomfort by, listening to affirmations the whole day, repeating your affirmations like a robot until you're blue in the face. And I'm not saying that these things do not work. What I'm saying is that you do not have to put yourself through so much anxiety and discomfort if it really does that. Because remember, you've always been manifesting. Before you learned about Neville Goddard, the law of assumption, and the law of attraction, you've always been manifesting. And you've always manifested in a natural way. So you just have to find out what is that natural way for you. So that's why with our clients, we find out what is natural to them. Because some people prefer affirmations, some people prefer visualization, some people love inner conversation, some people love self-talk, some people are like us now. We just accept. You just accept that it's done, and you're like, yeah, it's done. So you have to see how do you react and respond daily, and that will show you what is natural to you, right?
Yeah, I think there's 2 points that I just want to bring up there. The first one is just I was reminded of, kind of as Gabriel said, like we've always been manifesting, and having that proof that our imagination is God, I think, is so key. And I know when I was first introduced by Gabriel all into manifestation, Neville Goddard, we started just very small little things. And he said, okay, imagine seeing this, a red car drive by. And then I thought, okay, I'd picture it, because for me that was how it came natural to me, is just to visualize it. And then it would happen. I thought, okay. And we just did all these little things that were proof to me that, okay, my imagination does create. And that gave me that validation that, okay, if it works for small things or seemingly small things, surely this will work for everything else. And we had an amazing discovery call with a new client last week. And she was saying, like, when I first started manifesting, it seemed so easy. She's like, but it was more after learning and consuming content and learning techniques and this way and that way. She's like, that's when it became hard. Because she was just bombarded with, oh no, you have to do this tool, and this person says you have to do that tool, and this person says, well, it has to take 21 days, and this person says, and it's just this overconsumption of information, as well as consuming and not applying. There's nothing wrong with when people say, oh, you have to do this, because that's what works for them. And you can try it. Maybe it'll be like this new tool that works so well for you. But if it doesn't work well for you, you mustn't force yourself to use that tool or to do it that way. And the word that she used on the call was unstoppable. She says, I just want to be unstoppable again. And for me, that was so encouraging to say, like, yes, for most people, when they started manifesting, it seemed like this effortless, like, I can just manifest anything all day long. Like, I'm unstoppable. I create my own reality. What? And then it gets to this place of like, oh, now I need to try, and I need to do this, and I need. And that's where things kind of get shaken up. So I think it's just an encouragement to just go back and remember those first few manifestations that you did, those first few proofs that your imagination is God, that your imagination creates your reality. And just remember how simple it was. You just accepted, or you just imagined, you affirmed, and you saw, And the second point, I can't remember anymore.
I intend that you remember
What
it.
were you talking about?
We're talking about the not trusting that your imagination is God.
Oh, yes, that's kind of what I said. There was another point. If it comes back, I'll share.
It already came back. So I just want to share this with you guys. If you are using tools, methods at the moment, and you're trying to manifest your desires, you are actually telling yourself that you do not have it. So if you do visualization, meditation, robotic affirmations, all these methods and tools, if you are doing it to get your desires, you are telling yourself that you do not have it. You are telling yourself you are actually in lack. Do you know what Abdullah will do with you? He'll slam the door in your face because Abdullah will tell you that, hey, you already have it. You already have it. So now I'm asking you a question. If you already have your desires in your imagination, do you still need to, do all these methods and tools and stuff like that? If you already have it, no, you don't. What will you do? You accept it and you express your gratitude. Like people, generally speaking, when I give you something, you say thank you. That's just common courtesy. And even if you think about your car now, even if it's not your dream car, just your normal car, you're still grateful for your car, right? That the same principle applies. When you are trying to manifest something right now, you have to accept that you have it now. So there's no need for you to try to get it. No, you have to accept that you have it now. You have to accept that you are it now. And you make this new acceptance your new story. You say, yeah, it's normal for me to have my dream car. It's normal for me to be blissfully married. It's normal for me to earn $100,000, every month. It's your new norm. It's your new story. You accept it. So now check this out. You don't have to now set your alarms and, affirm for hours on end because you know you already have your desires. Because your mind, the 4D, the imagination, is the real world. So whatever you accept in your imagination is a fact. It is the truth. The 3D is only a copy of your imagination. So the 3D is a projection. The 3D is an echo. The 3D is not even real. The only thing that is real is your imagination. If you accept in your imagination that you've already won the lottery, it's done. You are a lottery winner now. There's nothing else you have to do. You don't even have to lift a finger. You have already won the lottery because you said so. You are the God of your reality. And the 3D will be rearranged according to your new story that's in your imagination. Now, if you refuse that you are a lottery winner, then you are interfering with the process. Your job is to accept that you are already a lottery winner and you just enjoy your life only when you are inspired to play the lottery. That's when you do it in the 3D, and that will obviously be a win. But you do not have to lift a finger to make it so because creation is finished.
Yeah, and I just want to, again, just to remind when Gabriel says, like, you refuse to believe, again, it's not that thing of, you don't feel like it for, like, a couple hours and you kind of spiral and then you get back to it. Because that's going back to the dominant state. The refusal is when, like, every day you're looking to check, do I have it? Do I have it? Did I win today? What's it going to be today? It's that constant state of not having it, the constant state of seeking, be like, okay, I want it, and then going to check for the rest of the day. And that's what Gabriel means by refusal. Again, it's not that like, oh, well, I just, I am a lottery winner, I am a lottery winner, and then for a little bit you're like, hey, man, I don't know if I'm going to win, I don't know. And you get yourself in those moments. But then you're like, hey, you know what? No, that's not the truth. I understand that might be how it seems, but that's not the truth, and this is it. And the other thing, we were actually just kind of reflecting earlier today, and just when it comes to these tools, these techniques, these methods, or how is it going to work best for you? And one of the ways you can figure that out, because sometimes our clients, they say like, oh, like I don't know what works for me, or oh, well, I can't really visualize and I can't really do this, I don't know. When you find yourself in a state of maybe stress, or those what ifs comes up, and you're just in that kind of naturally manifesting your surroundings, how does that look like for you? I know for myself, it's definitely like a very like visualization. When I think of, when I start to spiral and I think, oh, what if this doesn't work out, and what if this doesn't happen, and what if my visa gets declined, and what if, it's like I see it like a movie play out in front of my eyes. And so I'm like, okay, if that's how I'm manifesting these unpleasant things, that's the tool I'm going to use to manifest the things I want. And so I get myself into that, okay, well, what if it works out and now I'm back? I left South Africa and I came back to South Africa and my visa was approved, and I watched that play out like a movie. Because that's how it was playing out previously.
Yeah, just press pause there, baby. Guys, this is very important. I do not want you to miss that. Kylie is sharing how she manifests naturally. So now she's navigating the 3D accordingly to now use the exact same thing to manifest in the 4D, because she's saying that when she thinks about worst case scenario and when she reflects on her undesirable results, she can see it in her mind playing like a movie. Now that is natural to her. Now she can now use the exact same natural technique to manifest her desires. You see, I don't want you guys to miss that. That's very, very important.
Yeah, it's like a superpower. Like that for me is the most natural, like when we first met again, Gabriel was like, oh yeah, like, you could use affirmations, that can help you manifest, and you can, listen to subliminals, that's another way you can do it. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I tried these things and I'm like, why am I doing this? I didn't really understand, like, this doesn't seem to be helping me, like I'm just saying this thing. Like for me, it didn't click. It didn't seem natural. But then when I thought back, I said, okay, when I'm manifesting the things I don't want, how do I manifest those? How do I get myself? And it, again, like I said, it's visualization. Or going back to when Gabriel first introduced manifestation, he'd say, okay, now, imagine a car driving past. That's the other misconception. A lot of people, imagination and visualization are the same thing for them. For me, I can imagine and visualize. For other people, their imagination is just sensing that thing there. They can't see it, but they can imagine it, or maybe they can just hear it, or they can just sense that, okay, I have my person's right beside me. I don't know what they look like. I can't see them, can't hear them, but I just know that they're there. The imagination works differently for everyone. But yeah, I just, like you said, like just to say, okay, if you're trying to figure out what works for you, is it something auditory that you have to do? Is it like, because you're always telling yourself, hey man, you always mess up, you kind of get into those, like, essentially talking to yourself. But then if your thing is verbalizing your stress and you're like, oh, I can't believe this happened, I can't, then okay, maybe try using your words to manifest what you want. Use your own little superpower, how you've been manifesting the undesirable, switch it to manifest the desirable.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's very important that you have to, I want you guys just to let us know in the comments below. And, if you like what you're hearing, do give us a like as well so that YouTube can show it to more people. But I want to ask you guys now, right? I want you to think about your desire. Bring your desire to your mind right now. So now I'm going to ask you a question. Have you accepted that you have your desires now? Or are you trying to manifest your desire? So let us know in the comments below. If you are trying to manifest your desire, you are actually telling yourself you do not have it. So you are in a state of lack. But if you are accepting that you have your desire now. So let's just say, if you want to manifest $10,000, if you accept that you already have $10,000 in your account, you good, you do good, because now you're in a state of abundance. If you want to manifest your SP, if you have accepted that you are already with your SP, and as a matter of fact, your SP is sitting next to you, you're in a state of abundance. If you want to manifest perfect health, if you have accepted that you are already perfectly healthy now, you're in a state of abundance. Now, on the contrary, if you are trying to manifest perfect health, you're trying to manifest your SP, you're trying to manifest money, you're trying to manifest this and the other, you are telling yourself you do not have it. That's why it's taken people months, years, and decades to manifest their desires. You know why? Because you're actually doing it in reverse order. We were taught that seeing is believing, but I mean, we all know that that's not the truth. Believing is seeing. So you first have to see it in your imagination, believe that you have it, and then only it shows up in your 3D reality. You see, you have to accept right now that you are in Barbados and you're in first class. Your job is not to try to go to Barbados. You are already in Barbados. You have to accept right now that you are in Barbados. So as we said that, it's a bit challenging. It was challenging for me as well, just to accept it in my imagination, because I did not have reference experience that my imagination was God. But of course, when I worked, with my mentor at the time, I experienced that my imagination is God. I manifested my beautiful wifey. I manifested three of my dream cars with my imagination. I manifested my dream apartment. I manifested for other people. I manifested, unexpected income. I manifested so many things. I mean, like, I had so many books, and I used to actually do what was called this manifestation list. And I wrote manifestation list in all those books. She knows how many books I had. I had books and books and books and books.
Too many.
And so I had to actually prove to myself that my imagination was God. And I've even written a book as well where I show you how to do it step by step, so that you can just obviously, get your feet wet and see that your imagination is God. You know that people always say, oh, your imagination is God, your imagination is God. But yet, most people haven't experienced that. But let me tell you something. When you experience that your imagination is God, it's game over. No one can tell you nothing, because you just have to accept in your imagination that it's done, and the 3D has to conform. You can now just chill, do whatever you want, go on Netflix, do whatever you want. You just accept that it's done, and you can enjoy the 3D for what it is. And then when you know how the manifestations always show up, when you least expect, and then boom, it shows up in your reality. Boom, shakalaka. It's a beautiful thing. It's a freaking beautiful thing. So, guys, we are the God of our reality. This is not meant to be a stressful or full of anxiety, or this is meant to be a blissful experience for you just to decide what you want and to accept that you have it. Now, obviously, any tool and method works because your assumption actually creates. It's not the tool and it's not the method that manifests, it's your assumption. If I tell you right now, if you drink water 3 o'clock every day, you're going to manifest. If you believe my assumption, and then it will manifest, because it's the belief, the assumption that actually manifests, not the tool. The tool are just for us to help us to actually feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It's so that's why
Sorry, I
I
was just
wanna,
reading comments. I got a bit distracted.
yeah, I wanted to like see what you guys say. Are you trying to manifest, or have you accepted that you already have it now? You see, if you try to manifest, you are telling yourself you do not have it. But if you accept that you have it now, guess what? Your 4D self is now working behind the scenes to make it so. And your job is not to interfere with the process. And what I mean by that, do not waver. Don't look at the 3D for signs. Do not look at the 3D for validation. Do not look at the 3D for approval. Your job is to agree and to accept that you are in Barbados and you're in first class.
Yeah, I like what you said there about, you don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to do anything to make this manifestation come through. It's already a done deal once you've gone to that place of acceptance. But now, one of the most beautiful things, though, is that when you've accepted it, you will naturally see that you start to do things differently. And it's not out of a place of, I have to do this, I have to do that, but because, as we say, the states are complete. So if you become the state as Gabriel, like the blissfully married person, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions will start to conform. You'll start to feel.
Back? Are we back? Are we back? Hey, sorry about that, guys. Our internet is super fast, super strong, and it is reliable. We're speaking that into existence. So yeah, are we back? So let us know. Yeah. So
Anyway, let me finish.
yeah.
Let me
Sorry about
finish.
that. Sorry about that, baby. Sorry about that.
Um, yeah, like you'll see your actions, as I was saying, will start to conform also. So even you become that blissfully married person, right? And so you'll start to feel cherished, loved, secure, whatever, before you even have that person, because you're already that blissfully married person. And then, as well as, your thoughts, you'll start to have these thoughts of like, oh wow, like my SP loves me so much, and I'm so in love, and wow, it's amazing this feeling that I have. And your thoughts start to conform, but so do your actions. And so even though you don't have to do anything, you'll start to notice, like, you'll go out, but you're not like seeking and looking for anyone anymore. You're just comfortable to go out and enjoy. Whereas before, maybe you would go out and have testing, and the person that you are, you'll naturally see your behavior.
Just for the, sake of because we were actually planning to be here for like maybe a half an hour or so. But just to end it off, I just want to remind you all that you are already in Barbados and you went first class, and your refusal is actually delaying the process. So our reminder is just to remind you that you already have your desires now. You don't have to do anything to make it so. You do not have to lift a finger to make it so, because you already have your desires now. Now it's up to you whether you're going to accept it or refuse it. When you accept it, you will then see it will show up in your 3D reality. We approve, our clients approve. So if it can happen to us and our clients as well, it can happen to you guys as well. So we just want to say that do not try